So publishing a remote desktop in UAG is fairly simple and straightforward. So let's jump over to our UAG server and we'll demonstrate how to do that. Front UAG server, we have the management console open, we have our portal selected. We're going to go to applications once again and we'll click add. The application wizard will launch. We'll choose next to get started, and this time we're going to select down here at the bottom terminal services, and then we'll pull this drop down list, and we're going to, for our initial step here, we're actually going to do a predefined remote desktop. So we'll select that option and choose next. We'll give this the application name, and once again this is how the application appears in the Forefront UAG portal. And let's say we're going to establish this only to our domain controller. So we'll choose next. Once again, we'll choose the option to use the default endpoint policies, and we'll revisit that in another lesson. And the RDP session host, this is the IP address of the individual host that we want to talk to, or the FQDN, so we'll use the FQDN. You could use the IP address as well, so we'll choose next. We do have the ability to control the user experience by changing the resolution or the color depth here. We can just leave these as the default settings, but you can see I can control the resolution that the user will see, as well as the color depth in addition there. So we'll choose next. And again, we're going to add this to the portal, and we'll leave the name the same. We can add a description and so forth if we need to, but we'll choose next. We're gonna select the option not to authorize all users, however, since this is access to the domain controller. For our example, we're only going to allow the VintageSurf domain admins to see this. So I'm going to unselect the option to authorize all users. I will choose add. I'm going to select my authentication repository, and here I'm going to choose the option to get users and groups from my Active Directory. The domain admins appears in this list, so I will simply highlight it and choose add. But if I had another group there, I certainly could do that as well. So we'll choose OK. So now we're only going to allow domain admins to see this link in the portal. So we'll choose next and review our configuration settings and then choose finish. Now, before I save and apply the configuration, I'm going to actually run through another scenario in which we want to give access that's a little bit more broad. So we'll choose add. And we'll choose next once again, select terminal services, and this time we'll use user define. Now essentially what this means is we're going to allow the user to tell the portal which host it wants to connect to via RDP. So we'll choose next, and we'll give this a name. And we'll choose next. Again, accept the defaults here and move on. And now it's going to ask us for the IP addresses, the range, the FQDNs, or subnets. In this case, I want to create this rule for the entire 172.16.1.0/24 subnet. So we'll choose next. I'm going to accept the defaults here, and we'll add this to the portal as well. In this case, we're going to choose the option to authorize all users so we can show you what this looks like when a standard user logs in and then a domain administrator logs in. So we'll choose next and finish. And now we'll save and apply these changes. So the activation has completed successfully, so I'll choose finish. And once again, just wait for TMG storage to synchronize completely. And we'll test this from an internet-facing client once that's completed successfully.